Truly I say to you that this widow has put more than all out of her want, has put in all that she had to live on. A greatly blessed and glorious woman, who even before the day of judgment merited to be praised by the voice of the judge. She's there to point out as well that the rich who don't give face certain judgment. Should care for things 17 before dying with her children. When Elijah asked her to give him something to eat first and then feed herself and her children from what was left, she promptly gave it to him, says Cyprian. She didn't just give a little bit out of her wealth, but she gave everything that she had. She put mercy before food and the spiritual life before the physical life. And Elijah responded with a promise from the Lord, 1 Kings 17:14. The jar of flour will not fail, and the bottle of oil will not be diminished until the day that the Lord gives rain on the earth. This shows that Christ, in his mercy, rewards those who serve him, as the widow experienced. And Cyprian says, according to her faith in the divine promise, those things which she offered were multiplied and heaped up to the widow, and her righteous works and merciful deeds receiving increase and growth, the vessels of flour and oil were filled. Rather take away from her children what she gave to Elijah, but rather she bestowed on her children what she kindly and piously did. So by putting Elijah, who is a type of Christ, first, the widow was rewarded not only spiritually, but physically. Her children benefited from her generosity and they received life rather than death. Furthermore, again, if the widow did this in her poverty and not yet knowing Christ or having yet been redeemed by his passion, then it's very clear how are wealthy Christians who don't assist the poor, but put themselves and their children before Christ. So, in conclusion, like their male counterparts, female biblical characters can be both positive and negative role models for Christians. Cyprian portrays women as bold martyrs and faithful givers. They represent the unity, purity, fruitfulness, and prayerfulness of the church. On the other hand, wives can be foils to the faithfulness of women to be silent in the church, and the harlot of Revelation and daughters of Zion, who serve as examples of what not to wear. Although women need to be aware of dressing to impress men and perhaps leading them astray, in general, they're not portrayed as temptresses. In the case of his work on the dress of virgins, Cyprian is emphasising the contrast between their own claims to purity and the effect they may have on others. In another letter of Cyprian's, where virgins are living under the same roof as men, and so he disciplines them because that might be causing others to stumble, the blame is mostly laid at the feet of the men rather than the women. So while Cyprian calls for modesty in dress, women are not presented as sexually dangerous. He doesn't